So this is the Razer Viper V3. Now I do just want to preface this at the top of the video. This is not going to be an overly technical video. If you want to watch somebody go over all of the insanely detailed technical aspects, go watch like Bad Seed Tech or something. You know, this is going to be purely a video about how does this compare to the Logitech GPX, how does it compare to the rest of the market, and who is this mouse for? So first of all, I do just want to talk about the mouse for a minute. You know, this has a lot of other upgrades internally compared to the Viper V2. Like it's got the new sensor, it's got 8 kilohertz polling rate, that sort of thing. It does also have the Viper V3 Hyperspeed shape, and it has new coating and everything. So yeah. Now, shape-wise, comparing it to the GPX, very similar. This is actually a bigger mouse, but ultimately it is an insanely similar mouse. It does have comfort grooves in the clicks, which I feel does kind of hurt the shape a little bit, but it is bigger. And that is probably the biggest thing that I don't like about the shape for the Viper V3 Pro, is that it is a bigger mouse than the G Pro X Superlight, which I already thought the Superlight was a relatively medium to large mouse, but now the Viper V3 Pro feels even bigger. So just to get this out of the way, I do prefer the shape on the original Logitech GPX, the GPX2, the G Pro Wireless, whatever. I prefer that shape. Now, other than that, the Viper V3 is the better mouse. You know, it's got better internals, the side buttons are better, clicks are better, yada yada, whatever. But okay, so what I'm struggling with is the price. That is the worst part about this mouse. So I do just want to get this out of the way now. I don't necessarily recommend this mouse because of the price. So is it technically a really good mouse? You know, technical aspects, you just pretend this mouse doesn't cost anything. Is this a good mouse? Yeah, it's a great mouse. You know, the only cons I can bring up is, you know, I don't really like Razer optical switches. I wish they would use their mechanical switches, and you know, the shape is a little bit too big. But other than that, I don't really have any major complaints about the mouse itself. When you take the price into account, it changes things, because I feel very similarly about these two mice. You know, these are versatile, you know, reliable wireless mice. And I think it appeals to people who aren't mouse enthusiasts. So people who do just want that versatile, very reliable wireless mouse experience. If both of these can fill that role, which I do think the GPX is still a very viable contender, it's still one of the most picked esport mice out there. This is $100 to $110. This is my original GPX from 2021. I still use this a lot. You can buy this mouse now for $100 to $110. This is $170. If you want to get the GPX2, it's like $130, $140, and that's a much more comparable, technical-wise, comparable mouse to the Viper V3. That's kind of where I'm struggling, because I don't think many people are going to be upgrading from their G Pro Superlight, just because it's not really the whole point of this mouse. The whole point of this mouse isn't, oh, people want to buy this because it's the best of the best. People buy the Superlight because it is a good, it's the AK-47 of wireless mice. Are there better things out there? Yes. Are there, you know, things that could better suit a unique situation? Yes. Is this going to be a mouse that you can buy, use no matter what playing surface you're on, no matter what game you're playing, and do well? Oh yeah, you know, both of these mice are like that, but again, this one's much cheaper. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think that the appeal of this mouse is to a more common audience because of the price. So what about mouse enthusiasts? Well, again, I don't think we're the type of people that are going to buy this mouse either. I think we're in a bit of an arms race when it comes to polling rate, because, you know, the higher the polling rate, the better. Even though that's not something that I really agree with. The point is, that's how the market sees it. So we take the OP1 8K, for example. You know, this has really great side buttons, really nice shape, really good clicks. I want to do a whole video on this mouse separately, but you know, the only downside of this mouse that I can see is that it has a wire. It's not wireless. But this one does 8 kilohertz polling rate as well. It has better clicks, and it's like $70, $80. So that's nice. we have the Lamzu Atlantis Mini 4K here, and this is, again, a very comparable mouse. Nordic MCU, 3395 sensor, blue shell pink dot switches, has a very good scroll wheel, great side buttons. I'm sure latency-wise, they're very similar mice, has a very comparable battery life, except it only goes up to 4 kilohertz, and it's $100. So I just don't think in the enthusiast market this holds up price-wise either. It's still a good mouse, but the price just drags it down. And I think the reason for this is that the hyperpolling dongle is included. It used to be an add-on. However, it's included now. So it just irks me, though, because they include it and then just charge more, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of including it, because I would rather it be like a Lamzu situation where I can just not buy it if I don't want to. So let's talk about my recommendation, because the Razer Viper V3 is a good mouse, really good mouse. I think it's probably one of the best out there. I'm sure if you get into the nitty-gritty details about click latency and all-to-all system latency and all that kind of shit, it might be beaten out by some other things, but ultimately I think it is definitely a top-tier premium mouse. But with that being said, it has a more than top-tier premium mouse price tag attached to it, and for that reason, I just don't really recommend people get it. With that being said, I do think that if you get the mouse, or if you upgrade from a super light, or you already have the mouse, you've got a good mouse. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think anyone's going to get this mouse and go, wow, this fucking sucks. Like, I saw this guy's video talking about how he hated the mouse just because he couldn't lock in with it, which sounds like a skill issue if you ask me. But, you know, I think if you get this mouse, you're going to like it. You know, maybe it won't be perfect. There's going to be a few quirks here and there, but that's every mouse. I think it is a really good mouse, but the biggest problem is just the price, and I don't want to support a mouse getting more expensive. I just don't want to do that, because things were getting cheaper. Like, again, you know, Lamzu, Pulsar, you know, all the Chinese clones that were coming out on the market, like the Ninjutsu Sora, that were actually really good mice. You know, those are cheaper mice that do what top tier mice do. And I love that. I love the idea of things getting cheaper. That is awesome. Cool, really like it. If they had kept it at a $150 price tag, I think I would be recommending it more, because they do include the hyperpolling dongle. You do get a technically great mouse. You know, I think there are other mice. Every mouse on this table gets you into, well, maybe except that one, but there are many other mice on this table that get you into that club of top tier gaming mice for much cheaper.